Today, I'm going to share with you how I am personally overcoming my greatest struggle as a Christian, and that is selfishness. That's coming up today on The Beat. Hey, my friend, welcome back to The Beat. My name is Parr. Thank you so much for tuning in. If this is your first time here, it's a pleasure. If you want a free ebook, click the link in the description box below. If you enjoy this video, consider subscribing, hit that little bell notification so you won't miss a beat. So as I said at the beginning, one of the things that I struggle with probably more than anything else as a believer is selfishness. If I'm just honest about it, I would consider myself to be a selfish person in many regards. And I think I know pretty much where it kind of came from, particularly when it comes to money. I grew up, we didn't really have a whole lot of money. And so I grew up with this mentality that I always have to keep everything, because if I give too much away, then I could be putting myself in a position where one day I don't have anything. And I just always feared going back to that place where you're in need and you don't have anything. And so I tend to hold on to a lot of things. And it's not just in the area of my finances, but it's also in the area of my time and just other areas as well. So it is Friday, and if you've been tracking along with us, we are in a series called Heroes, and we are highlighting different characters in the Bible and looking at their lives. There is a beautiful story about selflessness and how to overcome this issue of selfishness in the book of 2 Kings chapter 4 about this woman. She doesn't even have a name, so for our purposes, we're going to refer to her as the Shunammite woman. And there are just three things that I want to highlight from her story that I think we can learn that will help us to be selfless so that we can exhibit the character of Jesus Christ. The first thing that we notice about this woman is that she was a proactive giver. Notice what it says here in verse 8. It says, "One day Elisha went to the town of Shunem. A wealthy woman lived there, and she urged him to come to her home for a meal. After that, whenever he passed that way, he would stop there for something to eat." So I want you to picture this now. Here is this woman. She's got a lot of money. She's got an empty home, and she notices that Elisha, who was a traveling minister, needed a place to stay. And so she did not wait around for Elisha to ask her for a meal. She didn't wait around for him to say, "Hey, I'm hungry. Don't you see me out here doing the Lord's work? Would you feed me?" No, she beat him to the punch. She was proactive. She ended up urging him, the Bible says, to come and stay with them so that he could have a meal. Now, notice it was only after she was proactive in urging him to do this, then it says, after that, whenever he passed that way, he would stop there for something to eat. In other words, whenever we are proactive about giving to other people and not waiting for them to ask us, what it does is it puts them at ease, because it lets them know that you really do want to do this, right? Many people are reluctant to ask us for things because they often think that they're going to be a burden. They don't really believe that we really want to do this for them. And so as a result, they just don't ask. But whenever we beat them to the punch and we are proactive about it and we give before they even ask us for what they need, then it lets them know that we really do want to give. So I don't know about you, but that is the type of giver that I want to be. And so the first question that I want to challenge you with is this: do you generally wait for other people to ask you for help, or do you proactively respond to the needs of the people that are around you before they even have to ask you? Now, here's the second thing that we can notice about this woman is not only was she a proactive giver, but she was also a very perceptive giver as well. I want you to notice how she perceived Elisha's needs and how she met his needs. It says here in verses 9 and 10, she said to her husband, "I am sure this man who stops in from time to time is a holy man of God." Now notice she says, "Let's build a small room for him on the roof and furnish it with a bed, a table, a chair, and a lamp. Then he will have a place to stay whenever he comes by." This woman basically says, hey, I can tell that this is a holy man of God, And more than just him needing something to eat, he's also going to probably need a place to sleep. And he's probably also going to need a place to study or read or prepare or whatever he was doing. So let's put out a chair, a lamp, a desk, and prepare a bed for him. She was paying attention to what this man's needs were, and she met his needs. And so oftentimes we tend to be so caught up in our own situation that we are not perceptive enough to be able to see the needs of the other people around us so that we can say, wait a second, I'm noticing that this person is going without this, or maybe they need more of my time, or maybe they need more of my encouragement, or maybe they need some money from me, or maybe they need me to put a good word in for them at my job so they can have an opportunity to get an interview, or whatever it is. But just simply paying attention to that person or those people around you so that you can be in tune with them so that you can meet their needs, whatever they might be. So the second question I want to challenge you to ask yourself is this: am I so caught up in my own personal needs that I am missing the opportunity to perceive the needs of other people and meet their needs? And so the third and final thing that we notice about this woman is not only was she a proactive giver, she was a perceptive giver, but probably most importantly, she was a pure giver. In other words, her motivation for why she wanted to give and be a blessing to Elisha was completely, totally, 100% pure. Notice it says here in verse 11, one day Elisha returned to Shunem and he went up to this upper room to rest. He said to his servant Gehazi, "Tell the woman from Shunem I want to speak to her." When she appeared, Elisha said to Gehazi, "Tell her, we appreciate the kind concern you have shown us. What can we do for you? Can we put in a good word for you to the king or to the commander of the army?" So Elisha basically says, hey, wait a second, man. I can't just sit up here and accept all these blessings, all these nice, kind, different deeds that this woman is doing for me without doing something in return. You know, sometimes whenever we are giving and we are just selfless, it rubs off on the people that are around us. And at times it may convict them to be more selfless, and if they are a selfish person. But I want you to notice here, he says, hey, let me try to return the favor and do something for her. And if her motivation wasn't pure, then she would have been like, yeah, you know what? I've been waiting for you to come back and see if you can do something for me. This is what I need for you. But notice her response. It says here, no. She replied, my family takes good care of me. In other words, she says, I'm good where I'm at. I don't need you to do anything for me. I didn't bless you because I want to do anything to get anything in return from you. I just wanted to be a blessing to you. So if you're going to be a pure giver, I want to encourage you not to give for the following reason. Number one, do not give to get anything back in return. If you are giving with the secret thought in your mind that I'm going to get something back in return, that is not being a pure giver. Number two, do not give with the idea or the hope that you're going to get some sort of credit for giving to the other person. Maybe you're going to get recognized, you're going to get acknowledged, you're going to get your name called out or whatever. If you're giving hoping that somebody's going to recognize or acknowledge you, then that is not an example of being a pure giver. Number three, do not give to try to boast to other people about how much you've given to other people or to organizations or charities or to your church or whatever. Just simply give in secret and let God reward you openly. And then the last thing is, in terms of your giving to God, never give to God expecting that God is going to give you something back. Give to God out of the kindness of your heart because God has given so much to you. And so the question that I want to challenge you here is, do you give with completely and totally pure motives, or is there something in your mind that is expecting something back in return? So I don't know about you, but as I said earlier, this is a major area where I struggle with, and I want to ask you to pray for me so that God will really have me to just release everything and trust that we cannot outgive God, and that if we give to other people and we give to God, then God is going to ultimately bless us in return. So if you found this video helpful in any way, feel free to share it with a friend. Also, if you haven't done so already, I would love it if you would subscribe. Check out some of the other videos on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time on The Beat.